The devil had your name written down. Past tense. He wrote it. He underlined it. He filed it away with a date beside it. And he was so sure of that file that he stopped watching it. That was his mistake. Because sometime in the last few years, maybe the last few months, maybe last Tuesday, at 2 in the morning, something moved in the spirit realm, and the thing he was holding stopped belonging to him. He didn't lose it in a fight. He didn't hand it over. He looked down one day, and it simply was not his anymore. And you felt it before you understood it. That's why you're here. Listen to me, chosen one. And don't scroll away from this. What I am about to tell you is going to unsettle something. And it should. You have spent years believing you were robbed. You have spent years doing the math on your own life, counting the seasons that got eaten, the doors that closed for no reason, the relationships that collapsed at exactly the wrong moment, the years that vanished like water through your fingers, and you concluded that the enemy took something from you, and it is gone. That is the lie, and tonight I am going to take that lie apart, piece by piece, until there is nothing left of it, but the truth standing in the middle of the room. Because the enemy did not steal your destiny. He held it. There is a difference. And before sunrise tomorrow, you need to understand what that difference means. I'm George. I've spent years now sitting with people in the hardest hours of their walk kitchen tables, hospital hallways, phone calls at hours when decent people are asleep, and I have watched this same lie choke more callings than sin ever did. Not the lie that God isn't real. Not the lie that heaven is empty. The lie that whispers, what he took from you, he still owns. So let me give you a picture, and I want you to hold on to it for the next 40 minutes, because everything I say tonight hangs on it. A thief breaks into a house. He doesn't take the television. He doesn't take the money. He takes one key off the hook by the door, a small brass key, worn smooth, and he walks out with it, into the night. And he is thrilled with himself. But here is what the thief does not know. That key does not open his house. That key was cut for one door, one lock, one address, and he can carry it in his pocket for 20 years and it will never turn for him. He can hold it. He can show it off. He can taunt the owner with it. But a key in the wrong hand is not a possession, it is a piece of metal. That is what happened to your destiny. He has been carrying something in his hand that will not turn for him. And you, the one it was cut for, spent all these years thinking the door was closed because you had lost the right to open it. You did not lose the right. You lost the key. And those are two entirely different losses, with two entirely different remedies. Now let me take you somewhere you might not expect. There was a man named Job. Most people know his story as a story about suffering, and it is, but that is the surface of it. Underneath, it is the clearest picture in all of Scripture of what really happens when the enemy comes for a chosen life. Because Job's disasters did not start on earth. They started in a conversation. The accuser came before God, and he asked for permission. He didn't take Job. He asked. Think about that for a second, because everything hinges on it. The most infamous act of theft in the entire Bible required a signature. It required a boundary. God told him what he could touch and what he could not touch, and the enemy obeyed the boundary to the letter, not because he is honorable, but because he had no authority to cross it. He never owned Job. He was granted access, temporary access, access with a fence around it and a clock running on it. And the reason that matters to you tonight is this. Everything the enemy has ever held in your life, he has held on loan. Every season he took on a leash. Every door he slammed inside a room God built. He has never once, in the entire history of your life, held anything of yours by right. He was never the owner. He was the man with the key that didn't fit. Job didn't know that. That is the part people forget. Job sat in the ashes and had no idea there had been a conversation. He had no idea there was a fence. All he knew was silence, the long, deafening silence of a righteous man whose entire life had been dismantled in a single afternoon, while heaven said nothing. And I need to say something about that silence, because I think you know it personally. Job's silence was not absence. It was not abandonment. It was the sound of a verdict being prepared. Let me show you what this looks like on a Tuesday. There is a grocery store somewhere in your town that stays open late. Fluorescent lights, one register open, the floor still wet from the mop. And at 11 at night there is a woman standing in the cereal aisle who has not moved in 4 minutes. She isn't shopping. She came out of the house because she couldn't be in it anymore. She got in the car because driving felt like doing something, and now she's standing under those lights with an empty cart, staring at a shelf, and what's actually happening inside her is a courtroom. She's prosecuting herself. She's going through the list. The years she gave to the wrong man. The addiction that took her 20s. The church she walked away from. The daughter who doesn't call. The gift she knew she had at 19 and buried under 2 decades of survival. And her verdict, the one she reaches every single night, standing in aisles or in doorways or in the dark of her own bedroom, is always the same. It's gone. I had something, and I lost it, and it's gone. Chosen one, if that woman is you, hear me carefully, because I'm about to take the first lie apart. Lie number 1. What was taken is gone forever. The reason you believe that is because you have only ever seen theft the way Earth sees theft. On Earth, when something is stolen, it leaves. It goes somewhere else. It gets sold, spent, broken, used up. Earth theft is permanent because Earth has no court that can reach into the thief's hand. But you are not dealing with an earthly theft. You are dealing with a spiritual one. And in the spirit, nothing that belongs to a covenant child ever transfers ownership. It only changes location. Location can be reversed. Ownership cannot. That is why the enemy's entire strategy against your life has never been to take it, has been to make you agree that the taking was final. Because if he can get your agreement, he doesn't need the key to work. He just needs you to stop walking toward the door. Every year you spent believing it was over was a year he didn't have to fight you. That is his whole business. He is not a thief who overpowers you. He is a thief who convinces you the house was never yours. Breathe for a second. I know that landed heavy. Now let me tell you what happened while she was standing in that aisle. While she was reaching her verdict, another verdict was already reached. And this is the part that undoes people when they finally see it. The reversal in your life did not begin when you started praying harder. It did not begin when you got serious, or got clean, or got back in church, or finally forgave the person you swore you never would. It began in a courtroom you were never invited to attend. Just like Job. He argued for chapters. He defended himself. He questioned God. He wished he had never been born, and none of it was the mechanism of his restoration. His restoration was decided somewhere he could not see, by someone who had never for one moment stopped holding the deed to his life. You have been trying to win back something that was never legally lost. And I know what rises up in you when I say that. I know the second lie is already forming in your throat. Lie number 2. But I gave it away myself. So I don't have the right to ask for it back. This one is heavier than the first, and it is the one that keeps most chosen ones on the shoulder of the highway instead of on the road. Picture that. A car pulled over on the shoulder at dusk. Hazards blinking. Engine fine. Tank half full. Nothing wrong with the vehicle at all. The driver just stopped. Because somewhere back there he made a decision he can't unmake, and he decided that a man who wrecks his own life doesn't get to ask for a new one. Maybe that's you. Maybe the enemy didn't break in through a window. Maybe you opened the door. Maybe you handed him the key yourself, with your own hand, knowing exactly what you were doing. And now you carry a private conviction that you are the one person this message doesn't apply to. Everyone else was robbed. You cooperated. So let me say this plainly, and I want you to receive it like medicine. A key you gave away is still not a key that fits his hand. Your consent did not recut the metal. Your failure did not change the address. You gave away something you did not have the authority to give. Because it was never yours to surrender in the first place, it was assigned to you, deposited in you, cut for you before you had the capacity to agree or refuse. Jeremiah didn't earn what was placed in him in the womb. Neither did you. And what you did not earn, you cannot forfeit by earning it back. I have watched people spend a decade trying to pay off a debt that was already covered, because they could not believe that their worst season did not disqualify them. They served, they gave, they fasted. They carried a load nobody asked them to carry, all of it, trying to buy back a key that heaven had already recovered and was holding in escrow with their name on it. You are not in a negotiation with the enemy. You never were. You are not required to trade anything, prove anything, or bargain for anything. He's holding a piece of metal, and it's not even his metal. Now look at Job again, because there's a detail almost everybody rushes past. When it was all over, when the restoration came, Job did not get his old life back. He got double. And that number is not decoration. It is legal language. In the law God gave Israel, a convicted thief did not simply return what he stole, he restored it twofold. Double was not a bonus. Double was a sentence. Double was what the court imposed on the guilty party. Do you understand what that means? Job's restoration was not a gift handed to a sad man to cheer him up. It was a judgment executed against a thief. The enemy was not merely defeated in Job's life. He was fined. So when you look at your own life and you see a season coming back stronger than it left, a relationship healthier than the one that broke, a purpose clearer than the one you buried, a peace deeper than the one you traded away, do not call that luck, and do not call it consolation. Call it what it is: a restitution order. And the reason the enemy fights so violently around chosen ones is not because he's afraid of your gifting. He's afraid of the bill. Every soul you touch after your restoration is another line item he has to pay. He would rather leave your calling buried than pay double on it. I want to be honest with you about something before we go further, because this next part of the message costs me something to say. There was a stretch in my own walk where I preached this and did not believe it about myself. I could stand in front of people and declare that heaven reverses theft, and then drive home and sit in the driveway with the engine off, absolutely certain that my own wasted years were a permanent subtraction. I believed it for everyone else. I could not sign my own name to it. What broke that was not a sermon. It was a moment of recognition, a moment where something in me heard a truth and knew it before my mind approved of it. That's how the Spirit confirms things. Not with argument, with recognition. My name is George, and if something in you has been recognizing itself for the last several minutes, that quiet, uncomfortable yes rising while I talk, I need you to take that seriously. The calling is wide. The instructions reach only a few. If there is a burning in your spirit right now, do not minimize it. That is the sign. The secret protocol delivers the 7 keys God reserved for those who are ready to unlock what was sealed inside them before birth. The full audiobook is included to absorb in depth, in your own time, in the presence of God. And the Awakening Map, the bonus guide that reveals the 5 stages of spiritual awakening and positions you with precision at the exact point of your journey today. Link pinned in the first comment. For a limited time, only because not every door stays open forever. I'm not asking you to take my word for any of it. I'm asking you not to walk past a recognition you can already feel. Now the third lie, and this is the one that's been working on you the longest. Lie number 3. The delay proves he won. This is the lie that hides inside the calendar. It doesn't announce itself. It just adds up quietly, year by year, until one day you look at your age and your circumstances side by side, and something in you closes. There's a garage I think about. Concrete floor, a work light hanging from a nail, a truck up on blocks that hasn't run since a certain year. And the man who owns it goes out there sometimes. Not to work on it, just to stand next to it. Because that truck is where his life stopped. He knows the exact year. Everybody who's been through something knows the exact year. And what keeps him standing there is a piece of arithmetic. If it was going to be reversed, it would have been reversed by now. Chosen one, hear me. Heaven does not measure recovery in speed. It measures it in ripeness. Job's night was not short. Elijah's brook did not dry up on schedule. Joseph did not get a hearing when he asked for one. And every single time, the thing that looked like abandonment was actually assembly. Something was being built that could not be built in front of him. Here is what a long delay actually tells you. It tells you the thing being returned is not small. Small returns come back fast. Small callings restore in an afternoon. When heaven takes 10 years to give something back, it is not because heaven forgot. It is because what is coming back has to come back load-bearing, strong enough to hold the weight of the people who are going to stand on it. You were not delayed. You were reinforced. And I know the difference is hard to feel while you're in it. When you're in it, patience and abandonment feel exactly the same. The only thing that separates them is what you find out at the end. That's what Job's silence really was. Not the silence of an absent God. The silence of a God who would not explain himself in advance, because the explanation would have ruined the thing he was making. And I want you to picture how that silence actually looked. Because we've turned it into a Bible story and forgotten it was a man's life. He was sitting outside the town. Not in his house, he didn't have one anymore. Outside, where they burned the refuse, in the ash. Everything he owned was gone in the space of one day, and the messengers had come one after another, each one arriving before the last one finished speaking, so that grief never had a single second to draw breath. His children were buried. His body was covered in sores he scraped with a piece of broken pottery. And his wife, the only witness left to what he used to be, told him to curse God and be done with it. Then his friends came, and for 7 days they said nothing, and those were the best 7 days he got from them. Because on the 8th day, they opened their mouths and started explaining. They told him it had to be sin. They told him there had to be something hidden. They built a case against a man who was already on the ground, and they built it with religious language, which is the cruelest kind. That's the part I need you to hold. Job's worst season had a soundtrack, and the soundtrack was people telling him why he deserved it. If you've had those friends, the ones who explained your loss to you, who found the flaw, who diagnosed your faith, while you were still bleeding then you already know a piece of what he sat in. And notice, God never once agreed with them. When the morning finally came, the people he corrected were the explainers. So let's talk about the moment the metal moves. Because there is a moment. In every reversal there is a specific point where possession changes hands, and I want you to know what it looks like when it happens to you. Because most chosen ones live right through it, without recognizing it. It doesn't look like victory. It looks like exhaustion. It's the day you stop arguing your case. Not because you gave up on God, but because you ran out of words to defend yourself with. Job talked for a very long time. Then God finally spoke, and Job's answer was almost nothing. He put his hand over his mouth. And the very next movement in that story is restoration. The hand over the mouth is not defeat. It's the end of self-prosecution. That's the moment. The moment you stop being your own accuser is the moment the accuser loses his last employee. Because understand, for years he has not had to build the case against you. You have been building it for him. Every night in the aisle, every hour in the driveway, every time you rehearse the list. He hasn't been prosecuting you. He's been quoting you. And the second you stop feeding him testimony, he is standing in a courtroom with a stolen key that doesn't fit, no witnesses, and a judge who has already ruled. That's the whole picture. That's what he actually is. The title of this message says something dangerous, and I meant it. You stole your fate back from the devil. Not you will, not you might, if you pray hard enough. For a great many of you watching this tonight, it is already done. It happened in a season you barely survived. It happened in a prayer you don't remember praying, on a night you were too tired to be eloquent. The transfer already occurred. What has not caught up yet is your awareness of it, and that gap between what is legally true and what you currently believe is the last territory the enemy holds in your life. That's it. That's the whole battlefield now. Not your future, not your calling, just the gap. Which brings me to the hours in front of you. There is a reason this message found you at this point in your week, and not another. There is something about the hours before sunrise tomorrow that I need you to take seriously, not superstitiously, but seriously. The night watch has always been where the transfers happen in Scripture. Jacob wrestled through the night and walked out with a new name at daybreak. The Egyptians lost their grip in the fourth watch. The stone moved while it was still dark, and the first witnesses arrived to find the work already finished. Heaven has a long habit of settling accounts in the dark and letting the morning announce it. So here is what I want you to do. And it's simple, and it costs you nothing but honesty. Before you sleep tonight, stop rehearsing the list. Don't fight it. Don't rebuke it. Just stop testifying against yourself. Put your hand over your mouth like Job did, and say one sentence: I am not the thief's evidence anymore. And then go to sleep. And let the morning find you as someone who has quit the case. I'll tell you what I believe about your sunrise. I believe some of you are going to wake up tomorrow and something will be different, in a way you can't point to. The circumstances may be identical. The bills, the diagnosis, the empty chair, the silence in the house, all of it may still be sitting exactly where it was tonight. And yet something underneath will have shifted. The way a room feels different when someone has left it. That's what it feels like when a key comes home. The lock doesn't announce itself. Doors that have been shut for a decade do not swing open with fanfare. They open the way old doors always open, a little stiff at first, and then all at once, like they were only ever waiting for the right hand. The enemy carried that key around for years. He showed it to you in your dreams. He rattled it at you every time you drove past the place where it happened. And the entire time, it was dead metal in his fist. Because it was never cut for him. It was cut for you. Before you were born, before you failed, before you agreed with him, before any of it. Job sat in the silence, not knowing there had been a conversation, not knowing there was offense, not knowing a restitution order was already drafted with his name on the top line, and the morning came anyway. It always does. Not because he figured it out, but because the one who never let go of the deed had simply been waiting for the right hour to hand it back. Your hour is closer than your feelings are telling you. Now I want something from you. And I want it specific, not a generic word in the comments. Not an emoji. I want you to comment the year. The year the theft happened. The year everything stopped. You know it. Everyone watching this knows their year. It's the one you avoid saying out loud. Put that year in the comments, and next to it, put one word for what he took. One word. Marriage. Voice. Confidence. Music. Sobriety. Mother. Ministry. Whatever it is. I read them, and I want you to see something when you scroll through those comments. A wall of years, and a wall of single words. From thousands of people, who all believed they were the only ones the reversal skipped. Post it tonight, before you sleep, while it still costs you something to type it. Because a year you can finally say out loud is a year that has stopped owning you, and a key that has come home doesn't need permission to turn. The door is yours. It always was. Go stand in front of it before sunrise.